Chris, what do you think about these Raptors? Fifth seed last year, 48-34. What's the ambition for this team, you think, going into next season?
Well, the ambition, why don't we start there? And we've been on a roll being super positive this last episode. So we'll kick it off like that. I'll say it simply. This is a team that could be looking at having three potential all-stars next season. If they're looking at best case scenario, they're looking at Fred VanVleet, who had his first all-star appearance and had it, albeit having an injured season. Pascal Siakam, who had another all-NBA nod and was not an all-star, but is absolutely an all-star caliber player. Both those guys played incredible seasons last year and did it without each other at very large segments of the season, only played 21 games together. And Scotty Barnes, rookie of the year, who in the playoffs looked ready for that moment and throughout the regular season was just flashing everything that you could have possibly hoped for the fourth pick of the draft, a guy who came out of Florida State as a bench guy. So he's a guy that I think you could think of as an early all-star kind of guy in the same way that LaMelo made it in the second year. I think Scotty can think of pushing for that this year. And anytime you can argue that you're going to have three all-stars on your team, you got to have pretty high ambitions.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's definitely starting on the positive note. I love that from you. I totally agree. I think Siakam and VanVleet are definitely going to be looking at it, especially once they stay healthy. I actually didn't realize it was such a low number of games they actually played together last year, and you still think how well this team was able to do because of the young guys, because of the way their main rookie was able to step up, and just the performances of both Siakam and VanVleet when they were on the floor. And they still got Nick Nurse leading the way for them. Similar to Miami, I just think as long as Nurse is there coaching that team, this team are always going to be competitive and in and around it. And then when they get the quality of a guy like Scotty Barnes, who you could argue was pretty much slept on by everyone other than the Raptors going into that draft, and then Siakam and VanVleet as well. It all molds together, and if it all comes good, the success can be there, and they can definitely match what they did last year, because they could get the fifth seed next year with another 3 or 4 wins. They could still be a fifth seed because this is an Eastern Conference that's getting better.
Yeah, and I think they're one of these young teams in the East that are fortunate to be in a competitive position with very low pressure, and I think in a number of ways. Number one, with the whole Durant. With the Durant trade discussions kind of getting muddled, they can wait. They can be patient. They don't have to push now. They have young pieces. They have a competitive core already. And also in terms of the season, I think they're good enough to not worry about not experimenting. Because I think the Raptors and Nick Nurse in particular, I'm glad you mentioned him, is they're always going to experiment. They're always going to try new things. And I think you saw that, especially even in the year that they had Kawhi, is that they're going to try and learn throughout the season. They're going to be patient, but they're still going to be competitive, where I think I don't want to say guaranteed a playoff berth, but without going full throttle and experimenting with these new guys who are evolving in their roles, they'll still be able to compete for a playoff seed, whether it's in the top 6 or whether it's top 8. I think they're going to be there.
Thanks for watching Coast to Coast on YouTube. For full episodes, check out the show wherever you get your podcasts. And for all the best hot takes, subscribe to the Coast to Coast YouTube channel below.